Alright, let's dive into a book that will fundamentally change how you see the world. It's called The Little Book of Uncommon Insights, and it makes a pretty bold claim that it can explain exactly why the world works the way it does, and more importantly, how you can avoid being duped by it. The book kicks off by describing a feeling I think we all get. It's that vague, nagging sense that something's off. Something's not quite right, but you just can't put your finger on it. It's this low-level anxiety that just kind of hangs around. But what is it really? Where does it come from? It comes from the fact that we're surrounded by huge problems we can't even define. And when you can't define the problem, you feel powerless to solve it. The book's whole mission is to give us the means to finally see what's going on. The book uses a really familiar story as its central metaphor, which is just absolutely brilliant. It takes Alice's adventures in Wonderland and recasts it as a parable for adults trying to make sense of our own pretty weird world. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. We all just show up here, born into this world with no rule book. We're just like Alice, dropped into a place with bizarre, hidden rules, and we're expected to figure it out while trying to fit into a system that often feels totally random and absurd. So, Alice's journey becomes a kind of roadmap for us. At first, Alice tries to change herself, growing bigger, growing smaller. But the real breakthrough only starts when she gets to step 2, learning to stand up for herself and others. And the final step? It's realizing the leaders, like the Queen of Hearts, are mostly bluffing. They're just a pack of cards with no real power at all. They only seem to matter because they've fooled us into believing they do. And just look at the parallels here. Just like Alice, we are all navigating this world with completely arbitrary rules. Leaders who don't make any sense, and this constant pressure to fit in. And here is the real kicker. Your confusion? It is not an accident. It is deliberately engineered. So from there, the author drops this really powerful metaphor. He asks us to picture our entire world as one single, giant, relentless machine. It's a pretty stark image, and it's meant to capture that feeling of just being a tiny cog in some vast, cold system. But here's the shocking part. The book claims this machine is fueled by the very misery it creates. Think about that for a second. It suggests that for the system to keep running, a certain amount of suffering isn't just a side effect. It's actually required fuel. How does the machine retain control? The book reveals 4 powerful tools of control. First, authority. It makes you feel small, insignificant, and powerless, constantly undermining your confidence. Second, politics, a distracting circus, with no real solutions or change, keeping you focused on things that don't matter. Third, religion, which promises salvation in the afterlife, but denies you real empowerment and freedom in the present reality. And fourth, the economic system, designed to profit off of our misery, confusion, and struggles, keeping us trapped in a cycle of exploitation. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do we fix this? Real freedom begins with an act of personal reclamation. The systems, the leaders, the machine, they're just symptoms. The real problem, the root cause, is our unfamiliarity with how our consciousness functions. To make this concrete, the book points to Gandhi. Gandhi didn't defeat the British Empire with force. He identified one unjust law, the salt tax, and simply withdrew his consent. By marching to the sea and making their own salt, he and millions of others showed that the system's power was just an illusion. You have control over your consciousness, and you can decide where it flows, what it sustains. Consciousness isn't some passive thing just watching the world go by. It's your personal superpower. It literally has the potential to reshape everything around you. And this brings us to the final, electrifying message of the book. No one is coming to save you. But you don't need saving. The power has been inside you this entire time. The Little Book of Uncommon Insights is more than a book. It's a wake-up call. What we've touched on here is just the tip of the iceberg. The ideas in the book go even deeper. Head over to the author's website at stanyostenson.com and download your free ebook to discover all the wondrous insights the book has to offer.